Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. The black flying boat rapidly advanced, piercing through the dense clouds, moving further and further away from Yulon City. According to the map, we have tentatively entered the Elder hunting area. Emperor Qing became tense. He put all his effort into probing the vast void around them. In this area, my strength is too weak. I must rely on you, brother Luo Feng. Don't worry. Luo Feng's glabella opened the biomimetic Eye of Destruction, and the Xianqing Sky Annihilation Array map inside his body was also in operation, enveloping the surrounding vast expanse, with an array formation domain centered on the flying boat to prevent ambushes. You know the rules of hunting, Emperor Qing whispered. I have only one thing to say, this being our first time in the Elder hunting area, we need to maintain the highest level of vigilance. The rules and experiences of hunting can be bought from intelligence dealers in Yulon City, of course, Luo Feng knew them. But to turn other people's experiences into one's own requires repeated trials. Sasha. While Luo Feng and Emperor Qing were slowly maneuvering the black flying boat, a virtual creature resembling a centipede was slowly creeping along. Having completely concealed itself, not even Luo Feng's biomimetic Eye of Destruction detected the slightest sign of it. It was called the Blood Demon Elisai. The Blood Demon Elisai clan, among the low-level primordial life, is a rather large race with a great reputation, notorious for concealment and deadly poison. Cultivators were also extremely wary of it. Sasha. This blood demon Elisai slowly meandered, eyeing the distant black flying boat, and it detected an array formation domain around the flying boat. Two cultivators daring to delve deep here. But looking at the two of them, they don't appear to be elders from Yulon City. The blood demon Elisai observed. As a late-stage divine emperor-level blood demon Elisai, it held a certain status within its clan, and had some intelligence on the elders of Yulon City. The intelligence it had was quite outdated. However, in normal circumstances, there are only slight changes in the long years for the elders of Yulon City. Let's give it a try first. After observing for a moment, the blood demon Elisai decided not to wait any longer. Delay could lead to unexpected changes. With time passing, it's possible that other members of its species would discover these two cultivators, and these two pieces of meat might get eaten by its kin. Cultivators hunt low-level primordial life, but likewise, low-level primordial life also yearn to hunt these cultivators. By killing enough cultivators, they can obtain various benefits, such as bloodline evolution, strength enhancement, and full recovery of freedom. This is my prey. The blood demon Elisai suddenly pounced. At this moment, Luo Feng and Emperor Qing, piloting the black flying boat, maintained the highest level of vigilance, with Luo Feng also keeping the Xianqing Sky Annihilation Array map within his body operational, safeguarding the array formation domain. But indeed, they had not detected the blood demon Elisai. Rip! A terrifying fluctuation instantly pierced through the Xianqing Sky Array formation domain, causing Luo Feng's face to drastically change. Not good. It was only when the formidable enemy breached the array formation domain that Luo Feng noticed a twisted creature covered with dense claws, resembling a centipede. The mere perception of it caused Luo Feng to experience a multitude of sensations, such as nausea, dizziness, and the world turning upside down. It's the blood demon Elisai. Luo Feng instantly recognized the identity of the attacker, and his blood sea undying body fully erupted in response. Boom 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 .. The vast endless blood sea surged outwards in all directions, also hitting the attacking blood demon Elisai. The endless blood sea, with the Xianqing Sky Annihilation Array map as its core, operated with terrifying might, forcibly blocking the blood demon Elisai's pounce. "I will collect you first." Luo Feng unleashed the blood sea undying body also to protect Emperor Qing. At this moment, Emperor Qing was already on the verge of collapse. Simply by seeing the blood demon Elisai, one could be poisoned. If touched, the severity would be 100 or even 1,000-fold worse. While telepathically conveying his message, Luo Feng also collected Emperor Qing directly. The intense toxicity of the blood demon Elisai was too dreadful. Even a late-stage divine emperor, who was enlightened, could be poisoned to death if their physical body was weaker. Emperor Qing was indeed incapable of making contact with the opponent. Having collected Emperor Qing, Luo Feng was then able to go all out in hand-to-hand combat with the blood demon Elisai. This fierce poison. Luo Feng resisted the blood demon Elisai with his endless blood sea, but in doing so, he also came into contact with it. The terrible poison contained within the blood demon Elisai naturally transferred into the blood sea, and began to rapidly infiltrate and spread. Die. The blood demon Elisai had great confidence in its own toxicity, even though they were lower-level beings. They were born primordial lives, entities meant to break free from cages. Its poison was extremely frightening. Sometimes, with its deadly poison alone, it could repel, or even kill late-stage divine emperor enlightened ones. Whoosh! Luo Feng's blood sea undying body was vast enough, without much consideration, he instantly struck back with a claw. The enormous fluffy claw was simply too big. Its sweep covered a wide area. The blood demon Elisai had nowhere to hide and was forcefully torn apart by the fluffy claw. The instant it was touched and torn, the blood demon Elisai naturally divided, splitting into billions of parts, billions of tiny centipedes that merged into the endless blood sea. A single strike has shattered my true body. After being struck by the claw, the blood demon Elisai was also startled, so vicious. The power of this claw was too terrifying to withstand. It had no choice but to completely divide along with the attack. Hiss 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 tilde 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 tilde. The world turned upside down. The blood sea was boundless. Xianqing Sky. The Xianqing Sky Annihilation Array map within Luo Feng's body operated at full force, enveloping a vast area with the endless blood sea, wrapping up the billions of tiny centipedes within its range and collecting them all into the blood sea eye. Inside the blood sea eye, the array operated, imprisoning billions of tiny blood demon Elisai within a space cage. Countless tiny blood demon Elisai fiercely retaliated, causing the space cage to tremble as if it were about to shatter. Undying heart, quell. Suddenly a green treasure pearl appeared, and under its guidance, with it as the core, numerous channels extended throughout Luo Feng's physical body, and even spread into the infinite blood sea. With this network of channels sprawling everywhere, the might of the endless blood sea increased severalfold, and its toughness shot up by dozens of times, acquiring a hint of an undying charm. The blood sea eye, as the core of the undying blood sea body, was now merged within this green treasure pearl. With the enhancement of the undying heart, the stability of the blood sea eye soared, as did the rigidity of the space cage, forcefully suppressing the billions of tiny blood demon Elisai. Hiss tilde tilde. Inside the blood sea eye, rolling blood waves condensed into a fuzzy claw, whose terrifying might crushing the tiny blood demon Elisai. 1 claw, 2 claws, 3 claws. With each swipe, large numbers of blood demon Elisai were crushed to pieces. No, no. How is this possible? He's not even listed among the elders of Yulon City. How could he be so strong? As billions of tiny blood demon Elisai were continuously crushed, they struggled in vain. First, they couldn't escape, and second, the greatly enhanced might of the undying blood sea body wielding the fuzzy claw was far too terrifying. Merely 6 swipes, and Luo Feng had torn apart the hidden life core of the blood demon Elisai. Once the life core split open, all blood demon Elisi naturally merged into one, revealing its true form. In that moment of death, blood demon Elisi couldn't believe that its journey of growth would end today. Finally, I've killed it. Looking at the huge corpse of the blood demon Elisi, Luo Feng also breathed a sigh of relief. I had to use both of my treasures to kill it. Just with the palm world, he couldn't trap the blood demon Elisi. Only with the blood sea undying body enhanced by the undying heart, could he comprehensively suppress the blood demon Elisi. Only then did he have the opportunity to inflict heavy damage with each claw, and even kill it. I can also count myself as having killed a low-level primordial life at the late stage of Divine Emperor. Luo Feng was somewhat wistful. At the elder level, only a few could kill a low-level primordial life at the late stage Divine Emperor in a one-on-one fight. Luo Feng also knew that he had relied on the power of treasures. Without the undying heart and the palm world, these two treasures, his own strength would drastically decrease. He couldn't possibly deal with this blood demon Elisi. It's dead, yet this virulent poison is still seeping through. Luo Feng frowned. Within the endless blood sea, supported by the undying heart, the spread of the virulent poison was greatly slowed. But it was only slowed. The area affected by the poison was constantly expanding without the slightest reduction. This virulent poison can't be destroyed. Luo Feng couldn't care for too much. With a thought, he separated all the energy that had come into contact with blood demon Elisi, discarding all that were tainted with poison. He divided a vast portion, about 1/20th, of the endless blood sea. Poisonous invasion. Luo Feng watched as the separated 1/20th of the blood sea was quickly eroded away completely by the poison, eventually leaving behind only a mass of distorted, vast virulence. This virulent mass was a dark black sphere about 3,000 kilometers in diameter, constantly twisting and tumbling with countless thread-like substances within it. Suddenly, this ball formed of twisted threads rapidly collapsed and shrank, finally condensing into a fist-sized black liquid. I actually can't handle it. Luo Feng watched in shock. He dared not to directly touch this virulent poison. This is the specialty of low-level primordial lives. After all, they are beings born to break out of the cage, possessing some incomprehensibly special characteristics. Some of them hide away, beyond the ken of cultivators. There are even some that can break through the many defenses of Yulon City and infiltrate directly into the city. In every epoch, there are cultivators within the city who are assassinated by these infiltrating low-level primordial lives. Luckily for Luo Feng, he resides in the inner city, and his stay has been short, so he has not yet encountered such an event. The Elisi poison can also fetch a high price, better to store it away for now. Luo Feng immediately used a storage treasure to collect this fist-sized black liquid. Storing the Elisi poison must be done with care, as it cannot touch any living matter. Once it touches, it will immediately seep through and erode. Unless one breaks out of the cage, their own energy form cannot eliminate this virulent poison. Hurry and leave, can't linger. In an instant, Luo Feng transformed into a blood shadow, silently merging into the heavens and earth to depart. The first rule of hunting, after killing a low-level primordial life, immediately leave the battlefield. After traveling for a moment, Luo Feng then released the black flying boat, and also released Emperor Qing. Although Emperor Qing was still a bit uncomfortable, he was now able to remain absolutely coherent. Escaped. Seeing his surroundings, Emperor Qing quickly remarked, "Blood demon Elisi has a strong tracking ability. If it failed in its assassination, it might secretly pursue us, or even call for companions." "Don't worry, it's dead," Luo Feng said. Emperor Qing was stunned. The blood demon Elisi was tricky to deal with. I had to exert all my strength, and it was not easy to kill it, Luo Feng said. Now we've moved quite far from the battlefield and are relatively safe, let's continue the hunt. Blood demon Elisai has been slain. Emperor Qing felt a tumultuous surge within his heart. These innate primordial life forms, although their moves are crude, each possessed enormously tenacious life force. To defeat is easy, to kill is hard. According to the experience in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, enlightened cultivators of the same level, when facing low-level primordial life one-on-one, generally hold a slight advantage. But to kill them is extremely difficult. Hence the need for several team members to hunt together. Luo Feng, with his own strength, has killed a late-stage Divine Emperor low-level primordial life. Such power is considered extremely strong even among the elders, thought Emperor Qing. Even Elder Tian, he is not to be feared. Even if Elder Tian, he has accumulated profound strength. As long as he hasn't reached the half-primordial level, he couldn't possibly slay Luo Feng with such might. Even if Elder Tian, he has a slight upper hand. Luo Feng's name will still spread throughout Yulon City. Good, let's continue hunting. Emperor Qing calmed his emotions and drove the black flying boat forward. Brother Luo Feng, this should be the last time we hunt together as a team, Emperor Qing sighed. I thought I could be of some help, but who would have thought I wouldn't be able to lift a finger, even becoming a burden to you. The threat posed by late-stage Divine Emperor low-level primordial life is too great. Just like the previous Elisai poison, if even a bit touched Emperor Qing, this very avatar of him would be annihilated. Brother Emperor Qing was able to reach the middle stage of Divine Emperor within a single reincarnation era in the land of origin, Luo Feng smiled. Such talent, surpassing even that of the two countries' ancestors. In the future, let alone at the elder level, there's even hope for half-primordial. Emperor Qing chuckled upon hearing that. He indeed had this confidence. But Emperor Qing also understood. He would need to endure through long years, with immense hardship, born into death, struggling immensely to touch upon the half-primordial. That was probably the limit for his lifetime. But for Luo Feng with such a growth rate, the half-primordial level seems within easy reach, with utterly no obstruction. Perhaps it's only by breaking out of the braided cage that Brother Luo Feng will spend long years. With his talent, it's possible he could leap out of the braided cage, Emperor Qing thought. He also knew that leaping out of the braided cage was very difficult. In the dark sacred realm, late-stage Divine Emperor enlightened ones are the minimum threshold, and half-primordial level beings are everywhere. This place gathers countless powerful beings from numerous worlds, yet leaping out of the braided cage remains a legend. Difficult, difficult, difficult. I wonder if Luo Feng's potential could leap out of the braided cage and become primordial life, thought Emperor Qing. As the two conversed, they remained vigilant. Luo Feng's biomimetic eye of destruction in his brow constantly observed his surroundings, and the Xianqing Sky Annihilation Array map within him was always operating, forming a vast domain that protected everything around him. Previously, when ambushed by blood demon Elisai, it was precisely the array formation domain that allowed Luo Feng to save Emperor Qing in time. Luo Feng's biomimetic eye of destruction peered into the distance ahead to the left. There was a cluster of clouds concealing the area, but Luo Feng could still manage a glimpse through them, spotting creatures covered in blue-white scale armor with 8 hooves each, and every one of them had a single horn, radiating coldness, naturally forming clouds. 15 Frost Soul Watchers, Luo Feng's eyes gleamed with excitement. In the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, lower-level primordial life consists of many different races. In terms of numbers, the Frost Soul Watchers come first. Their numbers are terrifyingly large. Even the hunters of Yulon City have seen thousands of Frost Soul Watchers acting in unison, with 3 of them at the level of Divine Emperor perfection, among such a formidable force. Against such a large team, no cultivator in Yulon City dares to obstruct them. They mostly act in groups outside. A lone frost soul watcher is a rare occurrence. A solitary frost soul watcher is generally one that has failed the competition for leadership and been exiled. To vie for leadership, one must certainly be at the level of divine emperor perfection. Therefore, encountering a frost soul watcher acting alone is even more frightening and dangerous. 15 Frost Soul Watchers. Emperor Qing said in surprise on the side, "It looks like a small squad." Judging by their stature, breadth, and scale armor patterns, they should all be at the middle stage of Divine Emperor, Luo Feng determined. Although Frost Soul Watchers are numerous among the lower-level primordial lives, all other aspects about them are quite ordinary. Concealment, escape, attack, self-defense, they know a little of everything, but every aspect is quite ordinary. These 15 Frost Soul Watchers, let's try to take them out in one fell swoop, Luo Feng said. Emperor Qing, you help too. Emperor Qing nodded. I will try to block them. The cloud cluster's flying speed wasn't fast, and the 15 Frost Soul Watchers stood there, watching all around. Though their observation capabilities were far inferior to Luo Feng's secret technique, biomimetic destruction, they still knew a bit about the art of observation. They were very patient, vigilantly watching in all directions. Once they spotted prey, they would set off collectively. Lower-level primordial lives love hunting cultivators. But Frost Soul Watchers are a very ferocious race, and these large numbers occasionally devour other lower-level primordial lives as well. Whoosh tilde. The endless blood sea suddenly appeared, with the boundless blood color spreading throughout heaven and earth. The blood sea enveloped the cloud cluster, and the 15 Frost Soul Watchers within it. There are cultivators. All 15 Frost Soul Watchers turned to look at the two figures in the center of the endless blood sea, Luo Feng and Emperor Qing's figures. Kill. The blood sea was devouring and twisting the cloud cluster, but the cloud cluster completely resisted the erosion of the blood sea. Meanwhile, Emperor Qing was also setting up a sword array from a distance. The cultivator controlling the blood sea should be a late-stage divine emperor enlightened one. The one next to him is much weaker, they assessed. Together, we can break the blood sea and tear both of them to pieces, they plotted. The 15 Frost Soul Watchers were not the least bit afraid. If 3 or 5 elders made a move, they would not hesitate to flee. But merely one elder. They are best at collective combat. Teams of 15 dare to fight a late-stage divine emperor enlightened one. Boom tilde. The 15 Frost Soul Watchers moved in unison, spreading icy chills all around. The cold air transformed the cloud cluster into a single entity, protecting the 15 of them and completely blocking Luo Feng's blood sea invasion. Cultivators, die. The massive clouds transformed into huge, terrifying claws, grasping towards Luo Feng. Despite strenuous resistance, Luo Feng was torn apart by the colossal claws and merged into the endless blood sea as waves of blood. He excels at transforming into a blood sea, but his physical combat is rather mediocre. The 15 Frost Soul Watchers instantly exchanged thoughts, destroy its blood sea. Instantly, their combined colossal cloud began to frenziedly absorb the blood waves. Rip! The endless blood sea suddenly erupted in rage. Xianqing sky, a thin line between heaven and earth. A light infused with the aura of life and death instantly pierced through their massive cloud, as well as the body of one of the Frost Soul Watchers. In the moment of penetration, the life core within was shattered. Carrying the blood waves, the light swept past the Frost Soul Watcher's body, which disappeared into thin air. The remaining 14 Frost Soul Watchers were shocked. His endless blood sea is adept at formations, and its power is quite formidable. Continue absorbing the blood sea, the smaller it gets, the weaker his formations will be. The massive cloud ferociously absorbed, temporarily suppressing the energy from the blood sea that was engulfed. These naturally born primordial lives all have quite bizarre talents. Luo Feng was intentionally showing weakness at this moment, fearing that these prey would be solely focused on escaping. If the opponents all escaped with their full strength, he would have limited capability to intercept them. First, allow these Frost Soul Watchers to see the possibility of victory. The endless blood sea released by Luo Feng was merely 1% of the real blood sea's energy reserve, but among cultivators, it was considered a normal physical body. So the Frost Soul Watchers didn't suspect anything. Hiss! The light of life and death pierced through the massive cloud once again, taking another Frost Soul Watcher with it. We have already absorbed 30% of the blood sea, he won't last much longer. At this moment, the Frost Soul Watchers were unwilling to give up, crazily absorbing the blood sea, its expanse visibly shrinking at the speed visible to the naked eye. Hiss! 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 Afterward, the light of life and death struck 3 more times, resulting in 3 more Frost Soul Watchers falling dead. By now, the endless blood sea had significantly reduced in size. Hiss! The 6th light of life and death couldn't even penetrate the cloud anymore. His blood sea is only left with 30%, formation power greatly weakened, he's no longer a threat to us. The remaining 10 Frost Soul Watchers grew even more frenzied, with the death of 5 comrades only intensifying their murderous intent. Yulo-level primordial beings do have some tricks. However, you are no match for me. Suddenly, a bloody shadow tried to escape. Escape! All 10 Frost Soul Watchers turned towards that one blood shadow simultaneously. An invisible fluctuation enveloped the blood shadow. Talent, Soul Freeze. The Soul Freeze formed by the 10 Frost Soul Watchers simultaneously wasn't particularly strong. Even without the Lai Yuan technique, Luo Feng could withstand it easily, at most affecting his escape skill. Moreover, he had the protection of the Lai Yuan technique and the Undying Heart. The Undying Heart provides protection to the soul as well. This Soul Freeze had no real effect on Luo Feng. The escaping blood shadow seemed momentarily disrupted, the escape skill broken, revealing his physical form. Cultivator, you cannot escape. The 10 Frost Soul Watchers were all very excited, as the massive cloud suddenly became incomparably huge, aiming to completely devour all the blood waves, including the silhouette of Luo Feng. Is that so? Luo Feng appeared to be in a frenzy. Boom! He transformed into a fleeting shadow, forcefully piercing through the blood waves. A blurry claw swept past one of the Frost Soul Watchers, cracking open another Frost Soul Watcher's life core, and taking away a corpse. What? The remaining 9 Frost Soul Watchers felt disconcerted. The already greatly weakened cultivator had taken away another one. About time. Luo Feng was not willing to delay any longer. First, the number of Frost Soul Watchers had dropped from 15 to 9, which meant the threat level was less than half of what it was before. Second, within the Elder Hunting area, battle engagements must be swift, as dragging it out could lead to accidents. Rumble tilde 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 tilde. The endless blood sea unfolded, and a towering figure appeared. The towering figure had an undying heart within its body, led by the undying heart. Countless vessels extended throughout its entire body and also spread throughout the entire endless blood sea. The undying blood sea body, utilizing the undying heart, its might instantly surged several times over. Swoosh! As the undying blood sea body fully erupted, Luo Feng's right hand also transformed into a huge, fuzzy claw. With the immortal body driving this claw instantly tore through the massive cloud, as well as ripping apart the ranks of the Frost Soul Watchers, killing 2 Frost Soul Watchers on the spot. He's been hiding his strength. He's not just any ordinary elder. Escape. The remaining 7 Frost Soul Watchers realized they had been tricked. In an instant, they transformed into 7 rays of light, as swift as the light of the Spirit. The resistance brought by the blood waves was minimal, and the 7 rays of light rapidly attempted to flee. However, in terms of escape skills, even though they were capable, they were far inferior to the likes of blood demon Elisai. Luo Feng clearly saw the 7 rays of light. Swoosh! The blood waves churned, and the world seemed to turn upside down. Suppress! The entire blood sea space pressed down. In an instant, it trapped 5 of the rays of light, confining them within the blood sea eye. As for the other 2 escaping rays of light, one encountered Luo Feng's fuzzy claw, which deployed the palm world to envelop it, while the other light ray was obstructed by Emperor Qing's sword array. Soon, these Frost Soul Watchers were all captured and killed one by one. I actually managed to capture them all. Luo Feng was quite excited. A single Frost Soul Watcher was manageable, but when 15 combined into a team, the difficulty skyrocketed. By feigning weakness, he was able to trap the opposition completely. 15 Frost Soul Watchers, that's almost worth 200 million primordial crystals. Emperor Qing was also quite buoyed. He had finally contributed significantly. Let's leave this place first. Luo Feng was also very lucid, not daring to linger too long in the battlefield. The 2 of them immediately maneuvered the black flying boat and swiftly flew away. Just a few dozen breaths later, 9 even more terrifying Frost Soul Watchers arrived at the scene. Their gazes penetrated the void, their cold aura affecting the vast surrounding area, as they meticulously searched for any traces of the battle. This video will end here.